at 8 a.m. this morning. I was here at 8 a.m., but I was told that you were not ready. So I went into my office, and as my schedule would have it, I had the business committee meeting as well. So the idea was to do this at 8, and then go and start the business committee. I think that was also 9 or 10, 9:30 thereabout. So I gave you 1 hour, 30 minutes, but you were not ready. So once I had started the business committee meeting, it was difficult to leave. We had to finish that before I'll be able to come and join you. So when we schedule times, let's all try to be there. My colleague, as you can see, is not here. Honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin Osahime. He was also ready in the morning, but because you were not ready, he came for the business committee meeting, and he has a meeting with his newly elected flag bearer and his caucus. So they have left, and so unfortunately, you will not have the benefit of his presence unless he's able to finish that and join us before we finish what we're doing here. But it's a very simple matter, just for the education of the public. Parliament is divided into 4-year life cycles. After 4 years, the Parliament ends, and that is a different Parliament. And new Parliament inaugurated is a different Parliament. That's how come you have first Parliament, second Parliament, third Parliament, fourth Parliament. Now we have the 9th Parliament. So if you start calculating from 1992, or let's say January 1993 to now, you will see that we have 9 parliaments. That is, every 4 years we had one. Now each parliament is divided into 4 sessions. So every year is one session, which is a sitting that must take place within 12 months. It shouldn't exceed 12 months. So that is a session. So the 9th Parliament, which is this Parliament, completed the first session last December. So we are now moving into our second session, which is for the next 12 months. All the sittings will be one session. The sessions are equally divided into meetings. So this session is having its first meeting. And so I just want the public to appreciate how our program and calendar is scheduled. You may take this to be simple, but many people don't understand when we say the 9th Parliament and then the first session and then the second meeting. And it is important for the public to appreciate the terminologies when we use them. They can follow and understand what we are discussing, since it is the Parliament of the people. So this is the first meeting of the second session of the 9th Parliament. And the Press and Public Relations departments have developed an annual culture of making sure that at the beginning of every meeting, we take time to brief the media on what to expect during that meeting. And that is what this morning's briefing is about. We expect in this meeting to take the President's report on the state of the nation. That's a major item of this meeting. That's a major item of this meeting. Just like last meeting of last session, the major item was the budget, if you recall. So usually in each meeting, there's something major that occurs during that meeting. So I would say that the major highlight of this meeting will be the President's presentation of the State of the Nation report to Parliament. pursuant to the constitutional obligation that he has. And so you should be preparing towards that. Apart from that, we will, this meeting, be focusing on passing bills that we could not pass in the last meeting. If you recall, a number of bills came and we couldn't take them because we're busy with the budget. I will go through the details later with you. Some ministers also have new bills that they want to bring to us to consider. I will mention some of them in due course. As we speak, we're actually having meetings with the ministers to have a sense of every minister's agenda for Parliament, what approvals they will need during this meeting of Parliament. And even as we are sitting here, the Minister of Finance is sitting in my office waiting for me to come back so that they can give an indication of what their priorities will be this meeting. And as usual, members of Parliament will be asking questions on all sorts of issues and relating to their constituencies and constituents to ministers, and they will be answering them. We have a backlog of about 300 questions, 300 outstanding questions that we couldn't take from the previous meetings, and we're determined to try and then cover as much as we can, if not clear all, and add the new questions that members will be asking. And so we just finished a business committee meeting at which we try to develop modalities to ensure that we are able to expedite action on getting members' questions asked and answered by ministers. Then, of course, there are a number of referrals that we have made to committees. You know, every agency in this country tends to report to Parliament, sometimes directly, sometimes through their ministers. There are two reports. There's the audit report. That one goes to Public Accounts Committee. So what you see them do at Public Accounts Committee is to find out money is given to you, did you spend it, did you not spend it, did you spend it properly, did you not spend it properly. That is kind of financial accountability. But there's a second set of reporting, which is we gave you the money to provide schools and teachers and to teach children so that they can perform well. Are you performing well in that regard? That is not financial accountability. That's really delivering on social services, delivering on infrastructure services, and etc. Now, those reports have tended not to receive that much attention in this House. And we have insisted that committees must begin to take those reports seriously, because really, that is what the money is all about. I've given you money to go and educate children, and then you've come to tell me, yes, you spend the money, but you haven't told me whether the children are getting well educated or not. And I haven't interrogated you on whether the children are getting well educated or not. I'm feeling my responsibility in that regard. So Ghanaians expect that the institutions will get better, the institutions will deliver, and it is Parliament that those institutions tend to report to. And if those institutions are not delivering, it means that Parliament is not doing its work. Parliament is not holding them accountable in terms of what they are to deliver on. And so this meeting also, we intend to be very stern on committee chairpersons and ranking members, and insist that all the reports that come from agencies regarding deliverables that we expect from those agencies are scrutinized and debated on the floor of the House, and not just scrutinized and debated, but hearings similar to what you see in the Public Accounts Committee. So Ghana Education Service come and sit there, tell us, why did all the children fail? You must explain to Parliament. We are the representatives of the people. You have to tell us, you have to explain the WAEC results to us. And you must explain it properly. Otherwise, sanctions has to flow. And, you know, you have to tell us what you will do to improve the situation in the ensuing years. That's what this accountability mechanism is all about. And the idea of sitting public servants before us and before you, the cameras, and asking them questions on their performance, not accounting, but the actual performance, has a way of also putting pressure on them to deliver. And so we intend to take that responsibility seriously, starting from this particular meetings. I must admit that the institutions send the reports. They always send the reports. It is Parliament that does not do what is required of it, which is to sit, invite them, scrutinize the report with them, get to the field, verify whether indeed what they say in the report is consistent with what is actually happening out there, and take them on, and then demand accountability for their side of the bargain to the citizenry for which they are paid. So those will engage our attention. Beyond that, I think the regular parliamentary schedules, motions, agreements, policy documents, for instance, the medium-term national development policy framework, which is a constitutional obligation, will come to us. The coordinated program of economic and social development policies will come to us. The national action plan on business and human rights will come to us. So similar policy documents will be presented to us, and then we will work on them. Sorry, I'm having a bad cough. So let me just indicate a few major items that we intend to look at this. So we already have some bills to be presented. Immediately we start. University of Engineering and Agricultural Science, Bonsu Bill, Ghana Cocoa Board Amendment Bill, which is already before us, an amendment to the Cocoa Board Bill, Ghana Cocoa Board Act. We have the Security and Intelligence Agencies Bill, seeking to restructure and reorganize our security and intelligence agencies and the mechanisms of oversight. We have the Interstate Succession Bill. We have the Legal Education Reform Bill. We have the Ghana Investment Promotion Authority Bill. These are bills that are already here. Many of you journalists who have been covering this house are familiar with those bills. We have about, how many reports? Yeah, 299 reports. 299 reports pending before various committees. Actually, yeah, 300 reports pending before various committees. And then we have questions, outstanding questions, about 300 before us. Some ministers have given indications regarding bills that they will bring, but I tend not to focus on what ministers indicate because it's not yet here. So it's not really the business of Parliament. But the Minister for Energy plans to bring a bill to enact a new National Petroleum Authority Act. They also want to bring a bill to establish a Ghana Bunkering Services Agency. And then also, as you would recall, there is a program to involve the private sector in electricity distribution. And these are things that will have to come to Parliament for approval. There's been a lot of renegotiation of the various power purchase agreements with independent power producers. These are matters that have to come to Parliament. The Nuclear Power Corporation Bill will also come. There is a proposal to establish a Renewable Energy Authority. So the bill to establish that will also be here. And then there's a new proposal to merge PURC and EC to establish the Ghana Energy Regulatory Commission. So a bill to that effect will come. And then some regulations relating to the West Africa gas pipeline will also come from the Ministry of Energy, but they haven't come yet. Then for Ministry of Local Government, they intend to transform the Local Government Training Institute into a University of Governance and Development. So a bill to that effect will come. Then they intend to amend the Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority to establish a mechanism for how to use their fund. Then there is some proposals to amend the Chieftaincy Act. We'll wait for it. And if you recall, President announced the abolition of some development authorities, the Coastal Belt Development Authority and the Middle Belt Development Authority, but we never passed the legislation to abolish them. So the bills to abolish them will also come this meeting. And then, of course, they have a couple of, the Local Governance Act itself will be amended. They are working on it. They will bring it to us. Then they have several legislative instruments. There's one instrument that they intend to bring to reconstitute regional houses of chiefs. So many paramountcies have been established, and so they need to add newly established paramountcies to their various regional houses of chiefs, and that has to come by legislative instrument. And also, the National House of Chiefs has been working on lines of succession to stools and skins, and I believe they are done, and a legislative instrument to legislate what they have done will also be coming from the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs. And Minister of Health is looking at breastfeeding promotion regulations to be brought to encourage breastfeeding. Then the National Vaccine Institute regulation will also be brought. And then alcohol control regulations will also be brought. And then Ghana Medical Trust Fund, that is Mahama Care's regulations, will also be brought to give effect to the act which we passed in the last meeting. Then for Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, there is going to be an overhaul of the entire mining sector regulation. And they've been working on it for a while now. The bill is now ready. They will go through cabinet shortly and bring it here. They promised to get it to us in the next couple of weeks, this meeting. And so it will be a comprehensive overhaul of the current minerals and mining regime. So a new minerals and mining bill will come. Then they also have a draft Ghana Geological Survey Authority, Geological Information and Licensing Agreement Regulations. And then they have some bauxite mining leases they will bring to us to ratify, and other mining leases. And then they will bring the minerals and mining royalties regulations. You recall that government has been saying that when world gold prices go up and we have our royalties stuck in time, we don't benefit as the prices go up and all that. So we want to develop a new regime that ties royalties to world market prices. If the world market prices go up, we too, our royalties should go up. If it comes down, we too, our royalties should come down. And that's only fair, isn't it? So that's something that will come before us for consideration. And then the Lands Act needs a legislative instrument, which will also come. And the National Geospatial Policy will come, and the Survey Council Bill will come. Wildlife Resource Management Regulations will also come. So those are what we expect from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Then we are looking at Environment Ministry, and they plan to bring legislative instruments to regulate standards for paints, the paints that you use to paint your buildings or properties. Standards must be set, and they are bringing regulations to set those quality standards for all paints that should be imported or manufactured in this country. And then also a legislative instrument to commence a chartered environmental management practitioner certificate program to meet the requirements in Section 31 of the Environmental Protection Act. Then an instrument to control noise pollutions from various sources. I mean, noise pollutions have become a major hazard in our communities. People can't sleep because people will be playing music, people will be engaged in religious activities at times when the neighborhoods in which those religious institutions are sited may prefer to have some less noise. In other jurisdictions, all religious activities are done in confined places where the noise is not allowed to escape out of the precincts of that establishment. If there are outdoor events, the location of those outdoor events should be such that they don't disturb others who want to sleep at that time. So the Environmental Protection Agency, through the Minister for Environment, is bringing a legislation to control noise pollution from various sources to protect human health and the environment. And then regulations to regulate coastal habitats, protect and preserve and restore coastal ecosystems. Then, of course, they have a few bilateral environmental agreements that they will bring in to us to consider, and then, if it's okay, approve for them. Then we have the Ministry of Defense will bring a proposal to transform the Defense Industries Holding Company Limited, DHOC, into a Defense Industrial Development Corporation. So there will be a bill to that effect. And they also want to establish a defense university, because they have several colleges. They have several defense colleges. They have the Kofi Annan Institute. They're already awarding degrees and diplomas, even doing PhDs, and affiliated to other universities. So they feel that given the number of institutions that they have, it will be strategic to bring all that under one umbrella and then have it established as a university with different departments. And they will be bringing a bill to establish a defense university or defense studies university. Other jurisdictions have defense studies universities who provide a lot of degrees and courses in Europe in defense matters. So I think that it is good. And Ghana has a very enviable track record in terms of our achievements in maintaining peace and security. And we believe that if we establish a defense university, it will also help raise funds for them, because many people will come here to obtain degrees here. Then we have also proposals coming from Ministry of Sports and Recreation. You know, we passed the Sports Fund Act last meeting, and there are regulations needed to give effect to some of the provisions in the Act 1159. And so the regulations will come this meeting, and then also the National Sports College, Winneba, will now have a law to back it. So a bill will come to establish the National Sports College in Winneba. Then also we will seek an amendment to the Sports Act of 2016 at 934. Then we'll try and operationalize the Ghana Anti-Doping Act by passing regulations for the implementation of the Ghana Anti-Doping Act, so that we can have clean sports. And he also says he will bring us the National Sports Policy and Strategy. Ministry of Tourism, Culture and then Creative Arts, they will bring a bill to establish the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park as an authority. Then they will bring a bill to establish the Ghana Bureau of Languages also as an authority. So that's what we have for tourism. The fisheries and aquaculture will be bringing us a bill to establish the Blue Economy Commission. So the bill is still being worked on. That's the major item that they hope to bring to us this meeting. The Minister of Works, Housing and Water Resources will bring a bill to overhaul the housing rental sector. So we'll have a new rent bill coming this meeting. And then we have some regulations. The riparian buffer zone regulations, which is just the space between water bodies and other settlements that must be preserved, so buffer zones. Then the control of waste discharge and management of water quality regulations will also come from Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources. I think we have Yes, okay, so let me just wrap up so that you can. So I told you earlier on that my colleague has to go join his caucus to pay a courtesy call on the newly elected flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, former Vice President of the Republic. And I was already explaining to you that he might not be able to join us, but luckily he hasn't left yet. He's just come in and he's asking for permission to make a brief statement so that he can leave to join his colleagues at that meeting. So I will essentially suspend the briefing so that he can give his short address, and then we can refer to the briefing on the specific items of the agenda. So you can move some of the microphones.
Ladies and gentlemen, we acknowledge the presence of the minority leader, Osahin Alexander Afenyo Markin, MP for Ifutu, as we take his remarks. Thank you.
Leader of the House, let me thank you for this treasure space to do these brief remarks and bring out some issues from outside. Clerk to Parliament and your able deputies, coordinating director, gentlemen and ladies of the media. On behalf of the Minority Caucus, let me thank you for the support since we came into the 9th Parliament. You've given us a platform for our views to be heard, and we appreciate that. But as our teachers will always write in our report cards, there's more room for improvement. To us, there are a few concerns we have. One, it is our view that when it comes to legislative activities, the NDC majority's legislative agenda has basically focused on doing some policies and rolling out new social intervention programs that we believe that if they continue old policies of the MPP administration in the spirit of continuity in governance, it will help our country. We've seen 33 bills that were fast-tracked under certificate of urgency, a procedure usually reserved for emergencies. We've not been happy about it. I hope that I will get the majority leader's assurance to allow for more engagement. So that is one major concern we have, and we pray that that will be addressed. Then, very controversial omissions. The anti-LGBT bill, despite bipartisan public support and NDC's campaign stance, it was not brought to a final vote in 2025. The majority claims that they are ensuring the bill is properly handled, but this remains a potential flashpoint. So we ask ourselves, but they were okay with the bill and they pushed. Now you say consultation. We see some bad faith. To us, we think that they use it to win elections, and now that the stakeholders in the governance ecosystem are pushing at them, they are finding a way of doing some go slow. We also believe that government's approach to social intervention and taxation has been that incoherent. You may recall that by end of 2024, certain programs were struggling. 2025, certain programs were struggling. And while the NDC has condemned some of our governance style, they themselves, in 1 year in office, we have not seen any major shift in terms of governance. Apart from the gold board that they've established, which is helping to stabilize the city because now they are trying to centralize the purchase of gold and all. Other sectors, agriculture, there hasn't been any major investment. Look at their budget 2026. And then also, if you look at their own flagship program, the 24-hour economy, they say 1 job, 3 shifts. We've not seen much in that area. So we pray that we'll see a comprehensive policy direction that would lead to real-time economic growth, where jobs will be created. So far, we don't think we've seen that. Rather, we've seen more and more of the youth who have lost their jobs as a result of the Chief of Staff's directive to the various ministries and agencies. They said they were going to deal with those who were recruited after the 2024 election. But what we saw was that people who were even recruited as far back as 2017 were all sacked. And our motion to get the matter investigated by Parliament is still hanging in the balance. We pray that we're able to get Mr. Speaker's audience to fully hear us so that a body is set up to look into that matter. Cost of living and inflation. Yes, we've been told that inflation has dropped sharply. But many families are still not feeling that real relief. Because if you take electricity tariffs, government so far has increased electricity tariffs up to 27%. It is huge cost to the ordinary Ghanaian. And whereas they took away the e-levy, they introduced the Dumso levy, meaning that every liter of petrol you buy, you pay 1 Ghana cedi. So more Ghanaians are being burdened more than the e-levy that they came to repeal. So again, there isn't much relief. Ghanaians are being burdened the more. I've spoken about the unemployment situation, but let me give you the real numbers. The report is that we have some 34.4 youth unemployment rate, and this is very unacceptable. The question is, where are the jobs, given all the promises? While the NDC was quick to roll out programs on paper, we hear a Jumawura National Apprenticeship Program and Kokon. Well, they are paper promises, but in reality, what are the tangible outcomes? Even if any existed, they are scanty, and this is their year 2. The honeymoon is over. They have cancelled the 1D1F. In its place, there is no alternative policy program for the private sector. I've not heard the Minister of Trade and Industry announcing a major private sector initiative to create economic growth. Zero. Yet they have cancelled the 1D1F. They promised public sector reforms, but so far the minister responsible for public sector reform cannot be found. We've not seen any major announcement, even in the budget, as if that ministry is non-existent. So in terms of public sector reforms, we are yet to see any serious intervention. We hold a view that in this meeting, the majority should be more accommodating. They must hear us. They must allow the minority to do more advocacy. We expect Speaker to be admitting more and more of our motions. Last year, we went through a lot of frustrations. You file a motion, decline. And sometimes it comes at a late hour, 11th hour. A typical example was the motion we filed on the CJ nomination. We filed it on time, and we wanted to advocate our issues on the House floor over 2 weeks. It was midnight of the Friday preceding the Monday where we were going to do the vetting that the clerk communicated that our motion has been rejected. I mean, that was quite frustrating. And you know, when we tried to deal with our issue at the vetting, the majority leader decided to use a tactics of point of order to keep us struggling. But it's all part of politics. He has a strategy. We must also have our strategy. But we think that the essence of this parliamentary politics is to give every party stakeholder the opportunity. So we look forward to much more engagement on that front. To conclude, I would say that the minority has not been obstructive. We've been largely cooperative. If you look at last year, the ministerial nominees, only 2 or 3 were voted on. But almost all of them, we took them by consensus. And in fact, We approved them on record time because we took a view that we don't have to allow the ministry for civil servants to operate. Government needed to have the ministers to take responsibility. So we set a record time approval for them, which has never happened in our Fourth Republic. Again, if you look at most of the bills that came through regular channels, we cooperated with them through winnowing, through amendment on the floor, to take them by consensus. Government programs that came, we raised our critical issues, but we were not obstructive. We understand the fact that governance must have a seamless, space. But at the same time, we must not yield to our duty to scrutinize. I have been a majority leader before, and I know how difficult it is to run government business on the House floor. So I'll be the last person to deliberately frustrate government business. That notwithstanding, I have a duty also to democracy to hold the government to account. And that has been our work. It's not everybody will be happy with us, but we leave our records for history to judge. Thank you very much indeed. And sorry, I have to rush out because my colleagues have already taken the lead to the flag bearers' residence. Leader, thank you for indulging me. But don't throw many more low blows in my absence. I know you're a gentleman. You won't take advantage of my absence to hit me hard. At least just respond.
Thank you very much, Osayi. We will give the leader of the House the opportunity to continue from where he stopped. Over to you, leader.
So we were Can I continue? Okay, so we want to thank the Honorable Minority Leader for his brief comments. We appreciate that he has to be absent. His presence would have enriched the discussions, but unfortunately he has to leave. So we're on bills. Minister of Education intends to bring an amendment to the education regulatory bodies, and then also they intend to bring a new bill for the Ghana Book Development Council. And I already mentioned the University of Engineering and then Agricultural Science in Bonsu. And an amendment to College of Education Act. If you recall, we transformed those colleges to universities. So there will be an amendment to cater for that. And then the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply Ghana bill will be brought. And then there will be a bill to establish the Center for Distance Learning and Open Schooling, which is CENLOS. And he will bring some regulations to govern the activities of National Teaching Council, and then the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, National School Inspectorate Authority, and the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. They all need some regulations passed, and the minister has indicated that this meeting he will bring those regulations. The minister for so the Minister for Transport will bring Maritime and Related Offences Bill, road traffic regulations to deal with the Okada legalization and the discipline that is needed on the roads by Okada riders and tricycle riders. And then the Ghana Shippers Council regulations. And we are changing the name of our airport from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. So a bill will be brought by the Minister for Transport for the name of the airport to be changed from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. So the Accra International Airport bill will also come, and then they will ask us to approve some international bilateral agreements and multilateral agreements for them. And Minister of Interior will continue to have the Security and Intelligence Agencies Bill considered by Parliament. And then a new community service bill, will be dealt with this meeting. The whole idea is to, provide for alternative sentencing so that for every trivial offense, one does not have to go and be lying in Sawam and congesting our prisons and be fed for doing nothing. So you can provide community service instead of being sent to Sawam. So we need to have that. And then they also have some other regulations governing gaming, birthright, diaspora certificate bill will also come. Review of Extradition Act 1960 and others. So those are the programs of the Minister of Interior. And the Minister of Communication has so many things that they hope to bring. But we will wait, because the indication I got from him from our meeting yesterday was that he's at the concluding stages of drafting those bills. My sense is that they may not come this meeting, so I will not bore you with all the details, but there are so many bills that, about 10 bills that he intends to bring. Some of them are new proposals, others are revision of old legislation that have been with us. Some of them were passed 25 years ago, and the IT sector has been changing. And so legislation needs to be updated to meet the changing landscape of IT and communication technology. So he's revising all this legislation, virtually overhauling the entire regime, and he will be bringing those ones as and when they are ready. And then the last is the Attorney General, and the Conduct of Public Officers Bill will be brought by the Attorney General. The Conduct of Public Officers Bill, it was approved by Cabinet, but also know that there are aspects of the Conduct of Public Officers Bill that are constitutional matters. So they are also, I believe, part of the report and recommendations of the Constitutional Review Committee. Then we have a proposal to pass a new Economic and Organized Crime Act, trying to modernize the existing EOCO and provide it a legislative regime that address some critical financing issues that they face. Then, of course, the Legal Profession Bill, which will complement the Legal Education Reform Bill. The Legal Education Reform Bill will set out a whole program of how you now become a lawyer. But the Legal Profession Bill, there will be an amendment there that will deal with something that is a bit of a problem, which is when we start debating the new legal education reform bill, you will see the trajectory of things. But in it is some requirement of quality assurance in terms of the law degrees that are coming from universities. Because if you take out law school and then you introduce bar exam at the end of it, then you have to make sure the law faculties who are awarding the degrees are really proper and they are able to maintain the standards. And so the Legal Profession Bill is dealing with that component. And then finally, we will have the Tribunals Bill coming. You recall in the NDC manifesto, we said we will establish tribunals. So the Tribunals Bill will come, and then there will be some amendments to the Supreme Court rules, the Court of Appeal rules, and the High Court Civil Procedure rules. But most of those amendments are really to account for the role of IT in, legal processes, how you can file, applications online, how you can serve documents online, and etc. to take advantage of the new technologies for fast-tracking litigation. So those are the major concerns of the amendments. There are other things that will be captured in the amendments to the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, and High Court rules. But those are the main things. So I have taken you through generally what to expect in terms of this Parliament. The last one is the 24-hour economy authority bill, which is ready and was even, I think, late. It was late in the last meeting, and so we will take it this time. And so that responds to what my colleague raised about the 24-hour economy and the absence of some clarity as to what it is. But 24-hour economy is not a complicated matter. It just means that we want to create a situation where our economy works 24 hours. It doesn't work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then we all close and then we go home. How can we work 24 hours? One, you need to invest in security to make sure that shops are able to open at night. Restaurants, can stay as late as possible. Fuel stations can operate 24 hours instead of closing at 9 or 10 p.m. for fear of security. And factories can function, 24 hours. And services can be provided 24 hours, like we're already doing at the port. How can you make sure that, at night when people are sleeping, the port can be busy and the trucks can be moving out with the goods, so that during the daytime when we ordinary people want to use the streets, trucks are not also struggling to evacuate goods from the ports. And basically, that is what 24-hour economy is all about. And the idea is that if you are able to achieve that, then the factories will need additional labor to execute for the other hours, in addition to the hours that they are already executing. The service providers will need additional labor to execute, and that creates jobs, and then also it increases productivity. But I think that my friends in the minority need to understand that even if you introduce the best of security in the country and you provide the best of incentives, and banks are going to go and borrow money at 32% interest rates or 23% interest rates, at 32% interest rate or even 40% interest rate, as we're seeing, even if you created whatever environment for them, they can't function at that cost of borrowing. If they have to exchange dollar at a certain rate to go and then buy inputs for production, when they produce, very few people can afford. If inflation is galloping and then people cannot, afford, no matter what kind of economy you create, it won't just work. So you must deal with the fundamentals, the macroeconomic issues. And that is why in the last 1 year, we have significantly addressed those issues. And they are going to have a significant impact on the industrial sector, on the service sector. Banks are chasing companies with money at much, much lower interest rates than 2 years ago. And everybody knows that. Interest rates have come down. Exchange rate has come down. The CD has appreciated in value. Inflation has come down significantly. Utilities prices are stabilizing, and the services are also relatively consistent. Electricity is on all the time. Still some challenges with providing adequate water supply, all that being fixed. Those are the fundamental issues that sometimes make it impossible for industries to even function. And this government has invested a lot in terms of policies and leadership to deal with those issues. And the results are out there for everybody to see. And all that is having a significant impact on decisions of industries to expand, recruit more people, and then also, to be able to run 24 hours. So I can assure him that slow but sure, this government is delivering on all facets of the promises that we made to Ghanaians. Now, the issue of certificate of agency, when it comes to work that we do in Parliament, it's exaggerated because he knows that a lot of the bills that we take through certificate of agency are bills that have already come to this House. We've referred the bill to a committee. The committee goes, consults stakeholders, and sometimes the revisions are so fundamental, the changes are significant, and the number of changes are many. And when that happens, normally the committee chair will come and ask for leave from us so that the minister will take the bill back, go and incorporate all the changes that the MPs have made at committee stage, and then bring back a new bill capturing what has already been incorporated by the MPs. Now, when those bills come, we deem it unnecessary to go through the entire process again because it's come before us. We've looked at it. We've recommended a change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The changes are so many that we don't want to spend all the time on the floor doing it. So just go and change it and bring it back to us. So when those bills come, we then ask for leave to withdraw the old bill and then replace it with the revised bill. It's not even a new bill, the revised bill. And then we now take it through a certificate of agency because we cannot go to Assembly Press, gazette it, wait for 14 days again before we reintroduce it, and then we now take it through the various stages. And that's why we tend to do a lot of. So if you go and do an analysis of bills that were taken through certificate, you find out they were brought in, worked on by Parliament, sent back to the ministers, they went and changed it, brought it back, were satisfied, so we took it through certificate of agency. So when you present to the public as if we are not diligent, we don't pay attention to the work that we've been asked to do, and so we rush things through, it's not true, it's not, and it's not fair to the records. And this is not the first time we're doing this. This has always been the practice of this House. I put out a press statement and I pointed to not less than 52 or 56 bills that were passed under certificate of agency when he was leader. So I don't see why today you would make so much noise about passage of bills through certificate of agency. Even today as we sit, I'm in serious negotiations with the Minister for Justice and Attorney General because the legal profession